Welcome to the introductory video series for the Foundational Public Health Services Capacity and Cost Assessment Tool. This is Video 2, Background. This is the second in a series of 5 instructional videos that provide an overview of the FPHS CCA tool developed by FPHAB and the University of Minnesota. This video provides an overview of the background tab of the assessment. At the end of this video, you should be able to describe the purpose of this tab as well as its outputs, understand the needed data inputs for the tab, be able to locate the major components within the tab, and be able to add data into the tab to generate the desired outputs. The purpose of the background tab is to help organizations calculate total sums of various parameters. These parameters include 1. Full-time equivalents, or FTE, for the 3 most recent fiscal years, 2. Number of staff for the current fiscal year, 3. Contract FTE for the 3 most recent fiscal years, 4. Labor expenditures for the 3 most recent fiscal years, and 5. Revenue for the 3 most recent fiscal years. In order to calculate these parameters, you will need to have several collections of data ready to input into the tab. The first is FTE for the 3 most recent fiscal years, broken down into individual components, that is, by job type. Examples of job types may include program managers, epidemiologists, lab workers, and registered nurses. Every agency is unique, and some may not employ people in all categories. The complete list of these job types can be found in the Background tab. In addition, the second collection of data you will need is the number of staff for the current fiscal year. You will need these numbers broken down by job type, similar to the breakdowns for FTE for the 3 most recent fiscal years. Third, you will need information on contract FTE for the 3 most recent fiscal years, broken down by labor replacement contracts, personal and professional services contracts, and temporary employment contracts. Note that there is an option to add other contracts for this parameter, if applicable. Fourth, you will also need data on your agency's labor expenditures for the 3 most recent fiscal years. This needs to be broken down into salaries, wages, and fringe benefits, direct contracts, other operating expenditures, pass-throughs and transfers, and capital expenditures. Fifth, and lastly, you will need information on your agency's revenue for the 3 most recent fiscal years. This should be broken down into the following categories: federal sources, including state pass-through of federal grants, state sources, including pass-throughs not originating from federal funds, local funds, fees and fines, Medicare and Medicaid, and clinical revenue. Note that there is an option to add additional revenue categories under the other category, if applicable.
To support local health departments in completing the Background tab of the FPHS CCA tool, we provide a sample entry from a fictional department, River County Public Health. River County Public Health is a mid-sized local health department serving a largely rural county of 85,000 residents. The department offers a broad range of foundational public health services, including environmental health inspections, disease surveillance, public information campaigns, and preparedness planning. It also delivers several community-specific services, such as running a primary care clinic and individual services for mothers and infants. The department receives support from public and private partners, both inside and outside of the county, and receives funding from a mix of federal, state, local, and clinical sources. Let's look at River County's data for the Background tab. At the top of the worksheet are agency characteristics and contact information. It is recommended to start with this section before moving to other areas of the FPHS CCA tool. Following their entry, the agency name and fiscal year are populated in the headers across all tabs of the FPHS CCA tool. The top governance field includes a drop-down of all U.S. states, territories, the District of Columbia, and all federally recognized tribes. The District of Columbia was selected in this example. Next, we provide a few calibration fields for your department under Financial Summary. First, we ask for which accounting period your department uses. Depict as a July to June period, but your department may operate according to a calendar year period or other period. Next, we ask for your department's standard hours per year for one full-time equivalent, or FTE. For most organizations, 2,080 annual working hours, 40 hours per week, is typical. Depicted are 1,950 annual working hours, or 37.5 hours per week. Next, we have River County's data for FTEs for the assessment year 2025 and the prior 2 years, broken down by occupation. Note the light purple shading with black text, which indicates duplicated data for number of staff and number of FTE for 2025. These data will populate once their corresponding cells in the current labor tab are completed. Please consult the glossary tab for definitions and example titles for the listed occupations. If your department may have a different occupation type that does not reasonably align with any of those definitions, you may add up to 5 other occupations, which will be reflected across all tabs. Depicted here is interns. A final note: if there may be a discrepancy between the number of individual staff for an occupation and the number of FTEs for that occupation for the assessment year, such as if multiple persons' effort were entered in the same row in the current labor tab, or if any individual worked more than one FTE, those data will be flagged in this tab. Below employee FTEs, we have similar data entry fields for contracted staff, if you may track these information. Next, we have expenditures by category for the assessment year and the 2 prior years. Note that the current year's salaries, wages, and fringe benefits were entered in the current labor tab and are duplicated here. Please note that any differences in expenditures entered for the assessment year here and those calculated in the current spending tab will be flagged in that tab to avoid data entry errors. Then, enter revenues by source for the assessment year and 2 prior years. Please consult the glossary tab for definitions for the listed revenue sources. If your department may have a different source that does not reasonably align with any of those definitions, you may add up to 5 other revenues. Depicted here are public health organization reimbursements and interest on investment accounts. Next, please enter the size of population your department serves. Finally, add any comments to provide context or clarifications to the data entered in this tab.
As we wrap up the second video, we want to highlight the frequently asked questions document and the instructional guide document that are part of the package you receive when you initially download the assessment from FPHAB's website. These documents cover questions you may have about inputting data or using the assessment more broadly, and they are the first resources we recommend if you have questions about using the assessment. As mentioned, this is the second of 5 videos in this instructional series. If you require assistance with material that is beyond the scope of these videos, we invite you to visit FPHAB's assessment website, and you can also reach out to FPHAB or the Center for Public Health Systems at the University of Minnesota via email.